Hey, well, good evening, everyone, and happy Monday. This is Sharon Rankin, and I'm zooming in from Nashville, Tennessee, and I am delighted to see so many of you who have chosen to join us on this Monday night. This is the Mission Possible team call that we are hosting a special speaker, and each week when we come together, it really is about reminding us and keeping our focus on the mission of inspiring healthy living around the world, and we do that in so many ways. And every week, these events are put together to help us create environments to help us all get better at what we do. We have learning curves and everything, and we are continuing to learn. So tonight, we have invited a very special speaker, Jill Wagner, to come in and share with us on something that I've heard her train on about 2 or 3 different times. And really, this training is on social media, how to get better at social media skills. And every time I hear Jill speak, I learn a little bit more. Another layer of understanding comes in. So if this is your first time to be hearing her type of training on social media of ag tag message, don't get discouraged, because it takes some levels of understanding and playing. So we really appreciate Jill being here. So let me introduce for you, for those of you who might not know who Jill Wagner is. She is a wife, a mom of 4. I understand she has 3 boys and a daughter. And between the ages of 17 and 23, you look way too young to have children that old. I'm just going to say it's all a power of the Juice Plus community and our Juice Plus Glow. But I'm just going to have to share. I don't want to get this wrong, because when I read all the different things you've been involved in, I go like, Jill is a woman of many talents and many hats, for sure. But as a mom, trying to find her way to earn extra money, and I'm sure many moms could relate to that, trying to find a way to earn extra money while always putting her family first. She got her teaching degree, real estate license, became a business owner, and tried multiple network marketing companies before she landed with the Juice Plus company and found her passion. And are we very grateful that Jill found her passion with our company. In 2016, Jill and her team became a national marketing director team. She lives in the St. Louis area. And Jill was going to train at our Branson, Branson, that's stepping back a few years, at the Kentucky Lakes boot camp. Was supposed to be there this last weekend, but due to tornadoes and other things out of our control, she is coming in tonight to share her message of ad tag message and how we can be better at really using social media. So welcome, Jill, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here, and I am just hoping, Sharon, am I going to be able to screen share?
Yes, okay. Absolutely.
Okay, I am just hoping that, first of all, I hope that you guys can give me permission to share with you just like I would at that boot camp, because I had been preparing for that. And so you're going to get to see my boot camp presentation all right here tonight. So I'm just going to come to you like we are all in the same room together. And I do want to just say a little bit ahead of time that I understand that everybody is at different levels in their social networking and all of that on social media. And so just take what you can get from this talk tonight. I know there will be at least one thing that you can take from it. Take what you can from it and then apply that to your lives. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share. That's not what I want. Okay. All right, I'm working on it here. Social media, but not apparently.
I understand it all. It's all good when it works.
Okay, can you see my screen, Sharon?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'm going to see if I can put you all up there. Okay, leveraging social media to grow your business. And so we will just talk a little bit here about that. So first of all, how many of you, I would love to see a raise of hands. I can't see all of you, but I can see some of you. How many of you are on some sort of social media? Okay. How many of you feel like you have room to improve on social media? Okay. How many of you are terrified and you don't even know where to start? Okay, a couple, right? Okay, and so we're just going to go through some of this because I know that sometimes we can get on social media and we can really start to compare ourselves to other people. Have you ever gotten on social media and you've started to look at someone else and you're like, I can't do what she does. I can't do what he does. I post the same thing. She gets more likes. He gets more comments. And we start to do this negative self-talk. And what I want to encourage you today is that what you see on social media typically is somebody's highlight reel. And we're sitting here in our own reality and we're looking at their highlight reel. And so we're starting to feel that negative self-talk come on. And so I just want to really encourage you not to compare yourself to someone else, because comparison is the thief of joy. And my hope is that as you hear my story today, that you can move forward in your story and that I will take away all of your excuses, and so that you can move forward on being your real, true, authentic self, not perfect. I want you to hear that, not perfect, because people do not relate to perfection. People are going to relate to your struggles, even on social media. Now, that doesn't mean I want you on social media posting all your bad stuff every day that's happening. That's not what that means, but find what works for you. I understand that everybody has a chapter that they don't want to read out loud. And Brene Brown says through Brave Leaders that owning our story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing that we will ever do. And God has shown me that I can help other people through my struggles, even on social media as I'm posting those. So this is where my story started 14 years ago. This is my little guy here. His name is Brent. He's one of my middle ones. And he came 8 weeks early. He was premature and he had all of the sicknesses that were going around. And by the time he was 6 years old, he had had strep throat 7 times in the past 4 months on the week that I heard about Juice Plus. And I thought, oh my gosh, we just have to do something different. A friend invited me to come and listen to a wellness presentation, and a woman in the front of the room talked about powdered produce. It made sense to me, and I thought, I need this for my family. We were living off of one income. I was a stay-at-home mom. My husband was working very hard for our family so that I could be home with our children. And I didn't know how I was going to fit into the budget. But I can tell you that I figured out a way in my grocery budget. I figured out a way to take out some chips and soda and to put it in our grocery budget. And we started flooding our body with fruits and vegetables through Juice Plus. And this little guy continually got healthier and healthier. I thought for sure he'd have to have his tonsils taken out. And he's 20 years old now. His tonsils never had to be taken out. Our family continually got healthier, but his biggest dream was to be big and strong and to play basketball with his brother in high school. And they're 3 years apart. So his brother was a senior and he was a freshman, and he worked extremely hard to get to start varsity as a freshman and start with his brother. And then his dreams just continually kept going. And he's currently playing college basketball in St. Louis at a college there, and just finished up his season this week. And I just am so thankful, because I don't know where our story would have been. I don't know where his health would have been had we not had Juice Plus going into our bodies each and every day from the time that he was 6 years old on. All of his developmental delays that he had caught up. And so I'm just so thankful. This is what my family looked like in 2007 when we said yes to Juice Plus. And I just want you to know, I had no idea at this time what was in store for my future. And I just knew that I needed to I'm telling you now, to build a business before you need it. I didn't realize it then, but God placed this in my life before I needed it. And these Juice Plus products brought me a beautiful business. And I made sales coordinator in 4 months. And I just knew that I was going to be an NMD in 3 years. And 5 years later, I was still a sales coordinator, still at that level. And I felt stuck. Have any of you ever felt like that? Right there, the turtle on its back. I felt stuck. And I started having these thoughts going through my head like, this business isn't for me. God must not want me to do this business. He's just not putting people in my life. It's just not working for me. I started saying all of those things to myself. And I want you to know today that if you're feeling this way, my biggest growth happened when I felt like giving up. And I knew that I was made for more than being stuck in a vicious cycle of defeat. I knew that I was not made to be a victim of my poor choices. I was made to be a victorious child of God. And I knew that I needed to make a difference in this world. And in order to do that, I needed to get out of my own way. So I want to tell you a few things here. Through a connection call with my upline, Rhonda Hubbard, and my mom, who's my downline, but she's my mom, and she believes in me. And they called me and they said, are you going to this next conference? And I said, no, I'm not. And Rhonda said this word to me. She said this sentence to me: what's going to change if you don't go? And I said, I'm putting out teaching applications as we speak. My husband, we've talked about it. I'm going to have to go get a regular job. And she said, what could happen if you do? And that hit me. I didn't know what could happen if I went. I wound up getting on a plane, getting to Phoenix, and through that event, so a connection call, an event, I got to hear one of the most impactful things in my entire life. I was sitting at that conference. Some of you remember this conference. Keith Cunningham was there, and he talked about getting in line and staying in line. Now, I've heard from other people that they felt like he was talking just to them too, but I felt like he was speaking just to me in that moment. And he was talking about a cafeteria line. So I want you to imagine this in your own mind. You get in at the back of a cafeteria line, right? And if you stay in line, you will eventually get to the front of the line. But what happens if you get about halfway through the line and you jump out of line? Do you get to go back in where you left off? No, you have to go all the way back to the beginning again. I realized that I was in this vicious cycle of jumping out of line and then having to go back to the beginning again. I was running hot and cold. I was not consistent at all. And for people to follow you in this business, you have to know where you are going. I knew for things to change, I was going to have to change. So I came home from that conference and I started setting some non-negotiables in my life. I started touching my business somehow every single day. I started personal growth every year. And I will tell you that people don't plan to fail, but they fail to plan. And so some of the non-negotiables in my life were the big rocks. And I don't know whoever taught me this. It may have been even at a Kentucky Lakes boot camp, but I saw somebody do this image, or maybe even do it right in person, where they had the 2 jars and they put the big rocks in. Your big rocks are your conferences, your boot camps. And I schedule those in my calendar first, because the picture on the right, if you put your big rocks in that jar first, those other little rocks are going to fit all around it and you can fit it all in. But if you wait and you say, I'm not going to go to this Juice Plus Live unless I don't have anything that weekend, or I'm just going to wait and see what happens, those big rocks will never fit into your calendar unless you schedule them in there first. And I started setting those non-negotiables for my life. And I will tell you that if it doesn't challenge you, it will not change you. And change can be hard. Staying the same is also hard. So you get to choose your hard. Hard for me would have been missing out on the life that I get to live today because I wasn't willing to change. So as we are going to talk about social media, I know some of you are already digging your heels in thinking, well, she's not going to tell me anything that I'm going to do. And I'm not going to do that on social media. So I want you to ask you this. Would you like to see your paycheck increase? And would you like to see your team's paycheck increase? I think all of us can agree to that. So if we can leverage your power through social media and grow your business, would that interest you?
Yes.
Okay. The way that people are making money is changing. I think everybody is seeing that now. 75 million people quit their jobs in 2021. It was considered the Great Resignation or the Big Quit. Our world is also changing. And our tools and the Juice Plus business, Sharon said it at the beginning of the call, our tools are always changing. When I started this business, 10% of Americans were on social media. At the end of 2021, it was nearly 80%. That's a big statistic of people who are on social media. So you may ask, why am I on Facebook? Why am I on Instagram? And why am I on TikTok? Because that's where the people are. There were over 2 billion downloads of Facebook, over 2 billion downloads of Instagram, and over 2 billion downloads of TikTok. And I know some of you are saying, okay, I'll do Facebook and I'll do Instagram, but don't talk to me about that TikTok. So let me just show you this. In the United States, there are 80 million active users every single month on TikTok. 28% of those are Gen Z, 21% are millennials, 10% are Gen X, and 5% are baby boomers. Only 5%. Do you know that only 5% is 4 million active United States people on Juice Plus, Americans on Juice Plus, over 4 million. So the people are there. So I just want to ask you these stories or these questions about social media. Are you posting consistently? Are you using Facebook? Are you using your Instagram? Are you using Reels or Stories or TikTok? If not, find one new thing. Find one new thing that you can try. Maybe schedule it in your calendar, one new thing for a week that you're going to try. On social media, do the people know who you are as a person? Do your people know that you're in business? Because I will assure you that people are watching you. Even if they're not liking, even if they're not commenting, they're watching you. And I remember somebody saying, if there was a Juice Plus crime, could you be could you be convicted of being a Juice Plus partner? If not, up your game. Sharon, was that you that said that?
I don't think it was, but I like it.
Up your game. If not, if you couldn't be convicted of that, then you're not putting enough out there to people on social media. And even if they're not liking or commenting, we want people to think of you when they have a problem and they're looking for a solution. 70% of social media users look at social media before bed, and 66% look at it when they wake up. The goal of social media is to let your friends and family or friends and followers know who you are through your posting. You are going to build trust by letting them see who you are as a mom, who you are as a dad, who you are as a parent, as a friend. Let them fall in love with who you are as a person so that they trust working with you. And eventually people are going to be reaching out to you. And that's the goal of social media, is to impact on a bigger level, impact people you normally wouldn't get to be around. And your being your authentic self is going to look very different than mine. So find what works for you. This is me on social media. I'm a total goofball. If you guys have seen any of my TikToks or Reels, we're total goofballs in our family. It's just what works for me. My family loves to come along with me and do this. That's not the story everybody has. So find what works for you. Find what you're passionate about. You can see there in that middle picture, even Stuart and Janet got in a TikTok video there at one of our NMD meetings, but just find what works for you. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. So in 2020, we had this quarantine, right? Everybody was quarantined and I was struggling. I was struggling a little bit in life, but I was really struggling in my business. And I decided that I needed to do something different. My kids were laying on the couch. Everybody's quarantined at home. My kids were laying on the couch and they were all giggling about things. And I was like, what are you guys giggling about? And they said, oh, it's a TikTok trend. You wouldn't understand it. And I'm like, okay, well, more of that would happen. And I'm like, you know what? I do want to understand it. And so I'm that mom. I like to know the way that they're communicating, what they're looking at. And so I got on TikTok, honestly, just to see what it was all about. And as I started watching it, I got some enjoyment out of it. And I thought, I'm going to start making a few videos. And so my daughter and she was just showing me how to dance. And then I thought, I think I could impact more people with this. I wasn't thinking just for my Juice Plus business. I was just thinking in general, sharing my story with people. And so I joined a masterminding group through TikTok, got to meet some people, joined a masterminding group and with some leaders of other companies. And that's where I learned about the ad tag message system. So I decided to put myself out there on social media. And because of that, today we have over 1.3 million followers on TikTok. We have over 15,000 on Instagram. And I'm currently just actually today opened up a different page on Facebook that I'm starting to do some things with. But what I want you to know is that you don't have to have a big following in order to have a big influence. Everybody starts at the same level playing field of 0 followers on anything they do. But once you start posting and getting passionate and having fun about what you're doing, your video, you can have 10 followers and you may have a video that goes completely viral and you get a lot more followers from that video. And that video may touch thousands of people. That's the way these Reels on Instagram and the videos on TikTok are working. So they're going toward all video platforming. So I knew through this and building these platforms that I needed a system. I needed a place that I could funnel people from all my social media and a place that I could build from home in my sweats, because that was our story at the moment, and something that was duplicatable that would save time, energy, and money. I needed a system that would allow me to go bigger and faster. And with the evolution of technology, I knew that we can work hard and smart. So how many of you have ever made a contact that you needed to send more info to, and then you got stuck because you didn't know what to send to them, or you couldn't find the video that you wanted to send to them? Or have you ever met someone in the store and they asked you about Juice Plus and you just verbally vomited everything that you knew about Juice Plus on them? I think we've all been there. Have you ever been ghosted online? Have you ever tried to set up a three-way call with someone that never happened because it took too long or just never happened? Sometimes these processes become very elongated and you lose the lead. So this new system takes the pressure off of you and it turns you into this private online Facebook group where you don't have to be the expert. Have you ever had somebody that says, I don't want to be salesy? This works if you do, and you get to do this at your time. So it's on their timing as well whenever they check it. And you don't have to wait on the next event. Sometimes I have an event in February and I think, oh, I can't invite them until the next event. This page will continuously support you. So let's talk about it. How does the ad tag message system work? First, you add your potential customer to the group with their permission. I'm always asking people, can I add you to this group? You're going to tag them in your potential customer in a video or a post, and then you're going to message them. And you're going to message them. You can either do that privately on a one-on-one, or there's some circumstances where you might even want to pull in your upline with them too, especially if it's about the business. And so we'll get to that. So private online Facebook group, I'm going to ask you, if you can, please do not request to be in my groups because these are private to my team. But I can give you all of my resources, okay? So these are just private for my team. So the private online Facebook group, one is for customers, one is for partners. This is the way we do it. You may want to do it differently. I had a one simple change page that we turned over into this one over here that's called our Living Well community. My team leaders came up with this. Living Well community, embrace, become, inspire. The whole team one over here is actually 12 NMD teams that we have partnered together. Jamie Cantrell came up with this. It's brilliant. And we are just kind of piloting it, to be honest, to see how it's working. So we're 12 teams. Each of us are taking a month to do the content in. I'm going to encourage you that if you already have a customer group, stick with that customer group. If it's with your upline, that's fantastic because more hands make lighter work for everybody involved. And this is something that you're not going to watch this tonight, set up your group tomorrow and be like, oh, this is working perfectly. This is an ongoing process. But what they do is they get to see social proof. Once they join your group and you have multiple people in the group, they get to see social proof right then. The prospects are learning by what you do with them. You are showing them the system whenever you add, tag, and message them. So I am encouraging my people to add people daily into our system. And everyone is posting, and that gives people social proof. You also have administrators and moderators because we only want content that's valuable to our people to go out, if that makes sense. We don't want somebody just posting something that doesn't need to be on there. So you want administrators and moderators that they can kind of monitor that. So let's see an example here. This is my page, Living Well Community. And you can see at the top, first of all, let me say this. Christine Abril let me into her group. And some of the content I completely copied from her. Some of it I made into my own, but some of it I completely copied from her because I didn't need, she had it done perfectly. I didn't need to change it. So the rules are there. Be kind and courteous. To posting in the group. Messaging members is not allowed. No asking for money, funding, donations, no live streaming or posting videos. So those are there as our rules. Then what they're going to see is a welcome message. As soon as they join into our group, they're going to see a welcome message. And the welcome message, it just kind of tells them that they can use the search bar to find different things on there. You know, like we may have a thing on pregnancy if they want to look at pregnancy, or maybe something on inflammation or infertility or whatever. And so they can type in those keywords to where they come up on the page when they're looking for something specific. This welcome message, they can be tagged in, and then it just kind of shows them the rules right there. We also have a welcome video right now. It's just currently me. I'm changing this over to being a welcome video from multiple of my leaders. So they don't just see my face, so they see multiple of our leaders' faces. So this is where, let's talk about the guides. The guides are where the meat is, okay? So this is where you're going to describe things. So you're gonna add them in, and then you're going to tag them. And the guides are a great place for you to tag them in. So let's just look right here under the tag, or under the guides. Guide 1, Mine is Your Journey Matters. Guide 2 is Farm Fresh Nutrition. That's all. And then the guide 3 is about the fruit, veggie, and berry blend. So you can see there, that one's about the trio. Guide 4 is about the omegas. Guide 5 is about complete. Guide 6 is about Tower Garden. Guide 7 is about the healthy starts for families. Guide 8 is our research. 9 is our medical professionals. 10 and 11 are a little bit more about the company. I don't post much in there, but if they want to click on that, there's a video there that they can watch. 10 is the shred, or no, sorry, 12 is the shred, and then 13 are recipes for the energy bites, and 14 are recipes for the smoothies. So how many times, I cannot tell you the number of times I went to look for that darn cookbook to send someone, and I could not get it to download, or I couldn't find it to send. Now I just tag them where this cookbook is. It works out so perfectly. So this is what people are going to see when they join our group. They're going to get health tips. They're going to get recipes. They're going to get fitness tips. They're going to get stories, and they're going to get giveaways. So you can kind of see how we work that here. Different people are posting different things all the time in our group. We do not have this perfected. I want you to know that. It's still an ongoing process for us. We're getting better with it every day. We met with our leadership team, and this is what we decided as a team that were important for us, for people to see: the stories, the giveaways, the education, the events, and the weekly wins. Any story that's in there, we make sure that it's compliant. They're not making any claims or anything like that. They're just simply sharing about their health journey. The calendar I am creating so that we kind of have a system of different people posting different things. And within that, then people are organically posting. So new people are coming on, customers are coming on. They're organically posting, but then we do have some set things that are happening in the group as well. The Facebook Messenger, the fortune is in the follow-up, right? So we have now added them. We've now tagged them. So you added them into the group, you now tagged them in a post, and now it's the messaging setup for this. So you're building the relationship with them in the messenger. And depending on the situation, this is where I said you may want to add someone else in. Okay, so let's take a look at that. This is the most crucial part of the system. The add and tag is simple. This part takes intention. So you can say something like this: I have this amazing community of people that I'm a part of. Would you like me to add you into the private page so that you can see more of what it's about? I tell that to people all the time. I have this amazing group. Can I add you into it? It can be as simple as that right there. People are like, yeah, add me into that. So then I'm adding them into the group. I'm tagging them in whatever information I want them to find. And then I will tell them right up front, if they're about the business, I'm going to say, I'm going to send you a follow-up series of messages with my friend. You can use your voice. There's the voice thing on there, or you can type this out. So it may look something like this. Oh, goodness. Okay, message to a prospect. Hey, Lori, I wanted you to know that I added you into our Living Well community group, and I tagged you in a welcome message and a video. I can't wait to see what you love about the video. I'll be following up with you. So she knows right there I'll be following up with her. She also can message me back. Most people do. Hey, I got it. I'm in the group now. I'll even say to them sometimes, say you got it whenever you see the tag, so that they can write right there, got it, I see it. And then they're watching the video, so then I know when to follow up with them. So also, this actually came from Jamie Cantrell's team. This is Jen Grubb that came up with this. This is something that they do for their prospects of partners. They are immediately setting up a 3- or 4-way messenger with their product and upline. They're introducing them and they're edifying them. So let's say that Jen's sending this message and her upline is Jamie Cantrell. She is edifying Jamie right there. And she says, hey friends, Molly, I want you to meet Jamie. Jamie and I went to high school together, and she's the one who introduced us to Juice Plus because her pediatrician recommended it to her. We are now on a mission together to heal families ever since. And she shared this business with me as well because she knew I was swamped with medical bills. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I am financially today. Jamie, meet Molly. She and I used to teach together in Plano, and she is hilarious and just amazing. I miss her so much, and she is a part of our We Build Dreams page and is looking to maybe build a dream of her own, maybe with us. So it reminds her there about the We Build Dreams page, and it's edifying both of them. So sometimes if you can't get that connection call set up, this can be a place where you can connect them in a messenger setting. And so then Jamie's definitely going to message right back, and she's saying a few questions on her end. Doesn't have to be all these, you don't want to overwhelm them, but she may just say, hey, tell me about your family. Tell me how you all are loving the product. Tell me what you're excited about. Tell me what you are looking for here. And so she is messaging back right then, and she's learning about them. We're not forgetting our ditch the pitch stuff here. We're using that even in our social media. So I know that some of you are like, okay, well, that's uncomfortable. I'm not going to do that. I want you to know that most of my people have been very happy. Actually, I haven't had anybody be unhappy with the messaging. So clarity is kind. So you be clear up front of what you're going to do, and that way there's no surprises. They can tell you right then if they don't want you to do it, but you are their guide. So I'm letting them know up front that I am adding them, I am tagging them, and I am messaging them. And I'm showing them how simple it is how to have their own business. Once they're a partner, I'm putting them over into Voxer, because I don't work my business with my team on messages, okay? I work my team on Voxer. That's what works for our team. So then I'm moving them to Voxer, and we're having our conversations there. The messenger is just like the connection call. It's not replacing the connection call, but we all know there's sometimes we can't get some people on a connection call, and this is giving them that third-party validation right away. This is a whole system. It's an ongoing process. I don't want you to get discouraged with it. We have not perfected this, and our overall goal is to have a simple system that will build more relationships and attract more customers and team members in order to make the difference in the lives of others. So when I think about lives of others, you never know how your yes is going to affect someone else. And I can look on this screen and I can tell you that the majority of my business has come through social media. The majority of these people that I didn't know outside of my everyday life, they came through social media. My mom, she obviously wasn't through social media, but she is better today at 69 than she was at 54. She feels better. This is Amanda DeClue. She got her life back after an autoimmune disease tried to take her, and she was supposed to be on disability at 35, and she's 42 right now, living a life of her dreams. Jessica Jackson, she dealt with infertility for 9 years. This is now her beautiful family. I think we just sometimes forget how powerful our message is. And even on social media, we want to be sharing how powerful our message is. So I'm going to ask you today, what is stopping you? Is it what other people think of you? Is that why you're not posting on social media? Is it, if it's that, I'm going to promise you that it is worth it. If I would have let what other people think of me, let me X that out. If I would have let what other people think of me or stop me, I would not be living this life today with the options that I have. There are always going to be obstacles, and there are always going to be challenges, but those give you a deeper story. They give you a struggle that you can help other people with. And I want to tell you that life happens to all of us. Right before I hit National Marketing Director, my marriage was falling apart. I had 3 kids that were 17, 15, and 12 at the time. I had just lost 2 sales coordinator lines. My grandma had just passed away. This was literally a few months before I hit NMD. Things do not slow down, and they do not get easier, but you have to decide what is worth it for you. And I'm just going to tell you that the challenges have been so worth it. I got to stand on that stage as a national marketing director in St. Louis with my family restored only through the power of Jesus Christ. My husband had an alcohol addiction. He has now been 7 years without alcohol in his life. Our family has been restored, and I got to share that up there, and I have a story to tell other people. Social media gives me a way to tell the people the story. This is my family now. As I stood on that stage, I had no idea, y'all, that we were going to be adding to our family. I had told God no, that wasn't a possibility. And you never say that, you never say never. But this is what our family looks like today. We got to add a 13-year-old 4 years ago to our family. He is now 17 or almost 18 next month. I have one that graduated college now. I have one that's in college. I have a senior in high school. I have a junior in high school. We own 4 businesses. We've moved 4 times in 2 years. Your challenges do not go away. You just have to decide what is worth it for you. And I want you to know that the only thing that is stopping you is you. So you get to decide if you're going to change your story. What's it going to take for you to change it? It's up to you. We tell people not to wait on a health crisis for the product, but don't wait on a life crisis to build this business. I want you to know that you did not wake up to be mediocre, that God did not create you to be mediocre. And Tommy Newberry says that mediocrity is best defined as failing to set big goals for your life and neglecting to give the life that God gave you. God made one of you. You are not replaceable. He made you for a purpose, and he made you for a reason. And what we have to offer people right now in this time in our in our world, there are people that are waiting for your yes so that they can say yes. There are people that are waiting for that $500 a month that would save most marriages and foreclosures. We have a big mission. So I'm going to encourage you to get out of your own way, because you can have results or you can have excuses, even on social media, but you can't have both. That's it. Let me X out of here.
You pounded out a lot. I should have let everybody know this was going to go a bit longer than the normal 30 minutes. But Jill, thank you so much. I mean, I'm so glad this is recorded, because I'll be sending this to you if you would like it. But
Yeah.
you said so much power. There was so much rich and depth in what you said. But yes, comparison is the thief of joy is what you started off with. This was excellent. I agree, Loretta. This was excellent. And consistency is key. And we have a big mission. And I can't thank you enough for pouring into us. I just wish we could have been at the boot camp for this, but we'll hopefully next year, Lord willing, next year. So everybody, let's see if I can do this back to gallery view. Give the clapping sign, hands up, whatever you want to do for Jill. But let's just say thank you so much to Jill Wagner for pouring into both of her.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Inspirational.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All
God
right.
I
bless you.
appreciate you all having me. Honestly, I appreciate it.
It was it. So get in line, stay in line. I remember I was at that conference, and let's set our non-negotiables. We can do this together. So together we're better. Thanks, Jill. God bless you. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was great.
Thank you.